Good Monday morning, everyone. Oh my goodness, you guys, I can't believe I'm going to go ahead and say halfway through October. It is crazy that this year has just flown by. But you guys listening to Author Talk with me, Amy, Russell, Valerie, and our lovely author guest today is Thomas Cullen, which is just the coolest name to me. I love that name. But I'm going to give you guys a hot tub update. It still has not been moved. Josh lied to me. It still has not been moved. But I am curious to know. So, you guys, we did a movie night last night with my girls and some of the neighborhood friends in the front yard. We had the projection, inflatable projection screen. We played Nightmare Before Christmas, all in PJs, had a bunch of snacks. I have decided, no, Josh does not believe me, that I am allergic to night air because I don't know if this happens to anybody else, but I wake up after being outside when the sun goes down so swollen and congested, and it only happens when I'm out late at night. So I just obviously cannot be outside when the sun goes down. It kills me. Nobody believes me, but I've just dubbed myself allergic.
I don't believe you
And
either.
so that's generally how it is. I'm surviving the fact that my kids are off. Oh, Russell, my kids are
That's
off
right.
for
That's right.
a fall break, which has never happened. Yeah,
Yeah, what
but
is
you
fall
guys, a
break?
big
I don't even
highlight.
understand what fall break
I
is.
don't. I really don't know because they're off. They were off Friday, and then they're off Monday, or obviously today and tomorrow. So I don't really. It's like just an October break because then they have winter break or Thanksgiving break, and then they have winter break. So I don't know. It's just every month they have a break, I guess is what I have dubbed it. But UT won this weekend. UH won this weekend. UTSA won this weekend. It was a good weekend for all of our teams, except for the team in which the city I live in, because unfortunately they also won this weekend, which just makes me and Russell very unhappy. So, Thomas, Russell went to UT. I went to a smaller branch of UT, and I live up here where A&M University is. And so we just are fish out of
And I
water
went to
over
U of H.
here.
So,
Yeah.
yes.
See, and Josh went to U of H. So it's just a good, all around good time for football for
Texas
us,
people.
except for them winning. I know. But what all did you guys do this weekend? Valerie, you had a ton of fun. I have
Yes.
photos. I'm going to post them in the group instead of sharing because there was so many of them. But tell us
Yeah.
about your weekend. What all did you do?
Yeah. So Saturday I was at the Texas Indie Author Book Fair. Can you see that? Okay. Anyway, it
Yeah.
was pretty exciting. There were authors from everywhere. There was over 140 authors that came to share all their work. And it was amazing. Thank you to Joseph Schiller, who organized and produced this event. He put his heart and soul in it. He was so passionate about really cutting to the chase and making this event become a reality for so many people who just came. Like the person next to me was from New Braunfels. The person across from me was from Conroe. The person, everybody was from everywhere. It was pretty cool. And you can always go around and just the networking, the sharing of experiences was amazing. And most incredible was really getting the chance to see how people market their books in a setting like this, because everybody has their own way to do it, but just trying to get people to come and see you. The some of my favorites were some of the horror and so many romantic people out there doing their thing. The lady across from me, she had a chalkboard. It says 18 plus only, very spicy, very this,
Nice.
and she was on point. But just everybody, just some people have the big signs, some people have the big displays on their table with every book they've ever written. Some people just have a few books and then they stack them up. But it's really incredible to know and understand how people view themselves as an author and market it in a public setting to other people, because that's how you're going to get people interested in your writing. And it was a great experience. So I really appreciate him taking the time to organize this. Apparently a lot of people had come from last year again to to do this. But the networking is incredible because everybody shares like about their experiences signing at bookstores, at different events, at different activities, things that they've done. It's great. It's a great thing to do. If you've never done it, do at least one so you can connect with other authors.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to. I love how you said romantices because that you guys, Russell will be shocked by this. That is giving dark romance readers a run for their money. Is romantices? They are making a
And
popular
the
return.
Okay,
spicy.
Thomas, this has been an ongoing conversation this year because fantasy romance and dark romance
Yes.
is selling 80% of the fiction books in America right now. And so
Hmm.
this has been an ongoing conversation about what is it? Uh, what does it really mean? Who are the fans? And why do they
Hmm.
get tattoos from their favorite romance books? Which is, did you know that reading fans are getting tattoos at book festivals? Did you ever hear of that, Thomas? Thomas, I don't know that Thomas can hear us.
Yeah.
I don't
Anyway,
think so.
anyway, Valerie,
There
I'm
he goes.
sorry
Maybe it's
I
his
inter-
headphones. No, that's okay. And
Valerie, I'm
remember,
sorry I interrupted you.
we were talking about too, Russell, about we were gonna touch on about how in the top 10 bestsellers, the percentage of the romantasy and all
Oh
that
yeah,
stuff.
you pointed that out to us in the
Mhm.
inner. Uh, talk about that a minute
Yeah,
while
just I
Thomas
was
tries
just
to get his headphones working.
yeah, I want to say I think just it's evident, and if they're in the New York Times bestsellers, that the majority of those bestsellers are those that genre. It's it's gone crazy. It's
I'm
gone viral.
stunned. I'm
Yeah.
stunned.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
And then, but
insane.
and what was crazy in the paperback series, the top 10 in that was like murder and suspense. And so you're like, okay, so grab a paperback and you're going to go grab that. But if you really want to hunker down, get that hard copy and, go for that. But it's pretty cool. Even my daughter just got through reading a 10-book series in that genre. So it's everywhere.
Yeah,
It's
it's
crazy.
shocking. Uh, I actually have a report in my weekend about Peter James. I have
Oh,
more to say
yeah.
about Peter James from my
Yeah.
weekend report. Uh, Thomas, can you hear us now?
I can. I'm sorry. I had to switch to
It's that's life.
my
Don't worry
phone.
about it.
It
But last
happens.
weekend, Peter James, a British author, was on our show, and he's actually the Queen of England's favorite detective crime writer. And so after our show last week, my wife, who reads about 130 books a year, thought, "Oh, I'm going to buy his first book."
Uh-huh.
And so she had the book read in 3 days.
Did she like it?
And well, here's the thing. She really liked it. She's going to read the whole series. She said that Peter Peter's first book was always twisting. You never knew what the next page was going to do because he completely twisted and surprised you every two or three. In fact, he made her nervous because he
Yeah.
was twisting back and forth so much. But she loved it. She's going to read the whole series. She's already bought the next three books. And so, good job, Peter.
Russell, do you
Mhm.
guys have BritBox or Amazon Prime?
Yes, we do have that.
Fine. Yeah.
So
We
his
have all of it because it's free
yeah.
for us, right?
Well, so his books have been made into a series on BBC on BritBox,
What's
and
the
it's
name of
called
the
The Grace.
series?
It's called Grace. And each episode is like 89 minutes long, but each episode is a book. And there's currently 5 seasons. Season 5 isn't on BritBox, but you can watch it on YouTube. But if she likes his books, she should watch the shows
We
because
should try it.
I do both with him, but
Mhm.
they do leave you twisting and turning, and it's hard for me to purchase a book and pay like $25 because I do like Kindles or audiobooks. But I started watching his show when I got the chance to talk to him in the summer for Book Fest. And I just feel like me and Peter are friends now. But
Oh,
it's a
Peter
great
rocks.
series. Yeah, so you should all check it out on BritBox's series. It is fantastic. I highly recommend it. They are long though; they're like 89 minutes, but they don't leave cliffhangers, which makes me happy. So you should tell Melinda that
Well,
you guys should watch it one
is
time.
it
It's
the
great.
same on Prime? Is it the same on Prime, Amy?
Uh-huh. I would
It's the
totally check it out
and it was
because
called
it's
Grace?
just yep, it's just because the detective's name is Roy Grace, and it
Oh,
is.
okay, okay,
I
okay.
mean, it's like twists and turns. Like I don't. I'm usually a fan. I can kind of predict the ending and who did it and all these things and why, but it always turns and twists for me. But I like how he was saying that you learn these little snippets about his wife that was missing kind of throughout, and the show highlights those kinds of things. So it is very well done. So I do recommend it, and I don't usually recommend movies. I always pick the books over the movies, but
And
these
now
kind
we
of go hand
recommend
in
the
hand.
book too because my wife told me she did.
Yeah, they are fantastic. So I do recommend those 100%. But Thomas, what did you do this weekend? How did you spend your weekend?
So I'm in Virginia, and it's still the weather's still relatively warm. So I spend as much time as I can on my screened-in porch with my golden retriever Derby, who sleeps out there and has a hard time when winter comes and he can't spend a lot of time out there. So I have a soft spot for true crime, and I read this weekend a book that I heard about on a podcast called Jackpot, which is about marijuana smuggling into South Carolina at the advent of the war on drugs in the late 70s and early 80s. Just a bunch of college dropouts who made tens of millions of dollars smuggling pot into the beach areas of South Carolina and eventually got caught. So it was really good. Part legal thriller, part true crime, and a quick read. So that took up most of my weekend.
Cool.
Nice.
That's
What's
Sounds good
awesome.
though.
the temperature in Virginia? I'm just curious.
To- Today it is, I think it's supposed to be 72, so it's rather perfect.
Oh,
Yeah, it is
yeah.
perfect.
That's fantastic. We're still hitting like 95 here in Texas. So it's still hot, but we'll take that any day. So,
Okay, we need to thank our listeners. Uh, Thomas, most people don't watch us on Monday morning. Most people watch it or listen to our podcast during the week. We're top 1% of some channels, 10% of others of independent book podcasts. And we want to thank our listeners. We've been around for 9 years. You can find us. Even I can find us now. Amy, where do people find us?
yeah, so you can find us anywhere that you can listen or search for a podcast. My go-to is Spotify, Amazon. I'm an Android user, so Google Play, iTunes for Apple. If you want to watch us live and engage with us, because we love that, and me and Valerie are generally pretty animated anyways, you can come over to our YouTube channel, our Facebook group, any one of our social media platforms. We're all open books for sure. But yeah, it's been a fun 9 years. So it's just been, you can go and watch us from our very first show, Thomas, and how that was done to
They were
where
really
it is.
bad shows too,
It was
Thomas.
so much fun to go and like reminisce and to watch them and kind of see how we have evolved into what we currently are. And it's always evolving. It's so much fun. Thoroughly enjoy it. So it's been a lot of fun. But Valerie Russell, let's get Thomas talking about his YA novel, his journey towards becoming a published author. So let's find out all the goodies that we can from Thomas. So Russell, Valerie, take it away.
Okay, Thomas, go ahead and tell us a little bit about your background because it's unusual that you're in this genre. So go ahead and share how you came to be where you are.
Sure. So I am my day job. I'm a federal district judge, a federal trial judge in Virginia. I just passed the 5 year mark in that particular role. Before that, I was a longtime federal prosecutor and for a while a defense attorney. So I guess I'm better known as a lawyer now, judge. But writing has always been I'd say consider a first love. I wrote in high school. I wrote from my college paper, and even as a practicing lawyer, I regularly wrote op-eds and essays for various publications, usually about current events and politics and law enforcement issues. And when I became a judge, I could no longer ethically express opinions about those sorts of topics. So I needed a new outlet. And about almost 2 years ago, I decided to take a stab at a young adult novel, and Charlie Man was the result.
Mm-hmm. So why young adult though?
I think the answer to that is that it was the story that I had to tell. The book itself, Charlie Man, is categorized as young adult. Although my hope is, and I think the feedback I've gotten, it appeals, I think, to a broader audience. It is a coming of age novel about a high school senior who attends all boys prep school in Richmond, Virginia, in the mid 1990s. So just based on the age of the character, the setting, and the themes, it should appeal to younger audiences. But given that it's the author is now in his late 40s and writing about the 1990s, the pre-cell phone, pre-social media era, my hope is that it appeals to folks who are at or about my age and remember fondly that particular
Mm-hmm.
time.
Yes, yes. So yeah, a lot of writers, write from observation and experience. Is that your case?
I think so. I mean, it's often said that first novels are at least partially autobiographical, and I think that's true to a certain extent. I mean, I was born and raised in Richmond, where the novel is set. I graduated from high school in the mid 1990s. Many of the characters in the book are familiar to the author, although there are no dead ringers. There are composite characters that are largely based on folks that I encountered along the way, whether high school friends or teachers or other
Yeah.
folks. So
Mhm.
there is a semblance of truth to it.
Always. Russell, sorry, Russell, did you have a question?
How do you read my mind like that, Valerie? Okay, what's the book about, Thomas?
So the book is about Charlie
And I
Stewart.
hope you're completely wrong about first books being about the author, because mine was a psychotic book.
Yeah,
So I hope
well,
you're completely wrong.
so I may be wrong. So the protagonist is the young man named Charlie Stewart. He attends St. Mark's Episcopal School. Charlie's father passed away a couple of years before the book starts from cancer.
Mhm.
His mother is still suffering the effects of that loss, and is dealing with some addiction issues. Charlie is starting his senior year. He's a mediocre student by his elite prep school's high standards. He's a mediocre athlete, but he has a wry sense of humor. He is resilient. There's a sense of stoicism about him. He has a best friend named Bo Miller, who is a superstar in every way, to the point where it makes you want to throw up. But nevertheless, he's Charlie's best friend, and they enter the year. And throughout the year, Charlie struggles, has his ups and downs. And by the end of the novel, without giving away anything, he has to deal with some significant adversity. But my hope is when we leave Charlie in May, right before his graduation, we're pretty confident that he's going to be okay.
Mhm. Mhm. I'm sorry. What was the biggest challenge going forward with the story?
So going into it, my greatest fear was dialogue, right? I had written a lot, and folks who aren't lawyers probably don't realize that lawyers write a ton as part of their day-to-day existence. Judges do too, but we don't write dialogue. So, and we certainly don't write young A novels. So I had generally the idea of the story and who the major characters were, and to a certain extent how the plot would flow. I was apprehensive about dialogue, having never written dialogue, in order to establish authenticity, right? To have high school characters set in the 1990s to be able to capture in a realistic way how they would converse with each other, how they would have been smart asses, and some of the common phrases and comebacks they would have used. As I got into it, I found that was one of the most enjoyable parts, and
Mhm.
just sitting there and putting myself in a conversation going back 30 plus years and trying to imagine how it would have gone. So I really enjoyed that aspect. And at the end, it wasn't nearly as daunting as I thought it would be going in.
So it sounds like your dialogue experience also affected your character development. Do you feel that's the case?
I think so.
Mhm.
So as you write the first couple of chapters, you have a couple of longer conversations. I think you're
Mhm.
putting flesh on the characters and kind of building, and you create momentum and kind of
Mhm.
go from there.
Did that affect how you originally envisioned your characters or the story plot?
I think it did. I mean, I had a good idea about how it would start and how it would end, but I didn't have a great sense going in
So
as to
you're
what
not
was.
an outliner, are you,
I'm
Thomas?
not really an outliner. I was really by the seat of my pants.
Uh,
Occasionally, I would have an idea. I'd be working on a chapter, and I run every day, and I do my best thinking when I was running. And as I was running, I'd think about, okay, this needs to happen, and this needs to happen. And I would scribble some notes down when I got back home or got back to the office. But I didn't have a really detailed formal outline going into the project.
Mhm.
well, I find that shocking. A federal judge, a lawyer, and he writes by the seat of his pants, not as an outliner.
Yes.
I
Yes.
just can't believe it.
I
This
love
was
it.
this was a different project for me. So um, I outlined for my day job for
Of
this
course we
particular
do.
project.
I'm a lawyer too, and I'm an outliner as a writer.
Sure. This was just different for me. When I was, and I utilized the same space, same keyboard as I do for my day job,
But the other side of your brain.
but the other side of my brain, and I just found that it was better just to let it flow. And I spent 3 times as long revising and rewriting, which is probably
No,
uh,
that's the best part.
it's the most
That's the
important
best
part.
part. That's when you turn crap into a good read.
No question. No question.
Hmm. Hmm.
I had a
And
mentor a long time ago, a federal judge when I was a law clerk, who told me that the editing is more important than the writing, and I think that's largely true.
yes, yes. Yeah, so how many revisions did you go through?
Oh my gosh, more than 20, probably somewhere 25 to 30
Hmm.
over the
Yes.
course of about a year, working with a really talented editor who was
Hmm.
instrumental in getting this thing into shape.
Hmm. So is it more, it sounds like it's more than a year for the whole process. Maybe would it say closer to 2 years?
It was, let's see. So I had the first draft of the manuscript in about 3 months, and then I spent 9 months working with an editor, rewriting and revising. And
Hmm.
then at about the 1 year mark, we were close. And then I probably still spent another 2 or 3 months polishing, going back through to the point where, I was changing things for the third time. And you have to, at some point, you have to draw a line and say, it's come this
Yes.
far. And so many people have read it that you need
Yes.
to just be satisfied.
Yes, I feel like that's a writer's thing because you got to put it down and walk away, and you're like, I can't. If I will find one more thing, I will continue to find one more thing, and I can make it better again, again, again. But yeah. So I'm glad you got the hands off and you went forward because it sounds like it's amazing. What do you think that people will take away from the story?
So what I hope folks take away, so it's coming of age, but it's set in a unique place, right? Richmond, Virginia, which is, if you've never been there, a sleepy southern city. At least it was when I was growing up. It is. It's been transformed over the last 30 years. In some respects, almost unrecognizable. But when I was growing up, it was a unique place. It's set in a unique time, right? 1995, as I alluded to, it was before the advent of the internet and cell phones and social media, where kids' lives didn't revolve around their phones. The challenges and experiences, I think, are largely the same. whether complicated friendships, first loves, dealing with anxiety, um, the college admissions process, how competitive that is. So, with respect to the young YA reader who wouldn't recognize social interaction without a cell phone, I think some of the challenges would be familiar. So I hope they identify with that and are able to take away something from how Charlie deals with that and how he relies on friends and teachers and coaches
Mhm.
for help along the way.
Exactly. Russell, you look like you have another question.
I do. How uh, do you plan on promoting your book? And what restrictions are there in your what a normal promotion would be from what you have to do? And did you have to get any ethical review of the book since you're a sitting judge before you could even publish it?
Yeah, that's a great
So those
question
are
from
three
a
questions.
lawyer. So federal judges, as Russell's question gets at, are heavily restricted and governed by the canons of judicial ethics. So the bottom line is judges can't opine on politics and current events and express opinions that people could read and then assume the judge has certain bias that would affect how he or she would rule on any particular cases. So, fortunately, there have been a couple of federal judges who have written novels. One in particular is J. Harvey Wilkinson, who is among the most famous federal appeals court judges, who happens to sit in the Fourth Circuit, where I'm a district judge. So he wrote a novel about 3 or 4 years ago. And I've spoken to him about that process. The short answer is no, I didn't have to get permission to write the book and have it vetted or pre-approved, particularly given it was YA. It wasn't, might be a different deal if I was writing an autobiography or writing a nonfiction about some court case or something. But in terms of promotion, there are some restrictions. So I have to be careful about where I speak, how I'm introduced, not using my title to sell books. Certainly in promoting the book, my publicist, I make sure when he's setting up things for me, I have him tell the host or the interviewer, I can't discuss cases. And that may be why they want to interview me and not because of the book. So please, just make sure that in setting these things up, that they know not to ask me about my rulings or my
Now,
views on legal issues and those sorts of things. So as long as I stay away from that, I'm okay.
have hosts promised they wouldn't do that, then they couldn't help themselves, and you've had to tell them you can't answer those questions yet?
So fortunately, I've done about, I think, 8 or 9 podcasts, and every interviewer or podcast host has abided by those ground rules. And
Excellent.
I've talked generally about being a judge, right, and
That's
uh, and
nothing.
and
Right.
how that relates to being a
Right.
writer. But no one has tried to get me to comment on pending litigation.
Okay. I don't mean to get us down this tangent, but I just had to ask.
No, it's a great question.
Yes. Was that all?
So you still hadn't talked about how you're going to promote your book.
Yeah.
What's your plans?
So podcasts have been a big part of the promotion so far. This is 9 or 10, and that's been a lot of fun for me because this medium was new to me. I mean, I'd listened to some podcasts, but I never really tuned in to author and writing specific podcasts. So I've gotten to meet some fascinating folks, and perhaps the reach is more limited, but it's important because the folks who listen to these sorts of podcasts care about the craft, care about young writers, care about I think independently published books. So I've really bought into that as an aspect of the marketing because of who I am in terms of my day job. some reporters in Virginia have been interested in just the fact that a federal judge has written a book like this. So there have been some kind of public interest pieces about that if I wasn't a judge wouldn't have happened otherwise. So that's been helpful, and I have cooperated with the reporters who've written about that, and I think that helped generate some buzz for the book. I haven't done a lot of, I haven't done any book signings or book readings or those sorts of things, and I'm starting to think about doing that, starting locally and perhaps branching out. But I don't have a website, right? I don't have Instagram because in order to, as you all know, to move the needle on that, you've got to constantly be putting out content, and I'm very limited on what I can say. So it's just not worth it for me to go down that road.
Okay, so what are you proudest about your book? What is the thing you're the proudest about? And the second thing is, what book are you reading right now besides a law book?
So I'll start with the second question. I just finished Jackpot, which is the true crime book that I was telling you about a little while ago. I'm about to start another Alan First novel. He's one of my favorite writers. I think this one's called Under Occupation. It was one of his later novels published in, I think, 2019, 2020. So I'll start that later this afternoon, and it's a federal holiday, so that's why I'm not working today. In terms of my own book, what am I'm proudest? I just think the being able just to pull it together and bring it to completion, to publication, and share the story with a broader audience, and having the guts to do it. I mean, you all know this. You really put yourself out there when you're an author, particularly in this day and age, where people are, everyone has an opinion, and sometimes they're strident in those opinions, and putting people down is a big part of our modern social media culture. So I wasn't sure I wanted to do it. Do I really want to write something and subject myself to criticism? Because not everybody's going to like the book. Some people are and some people aren't. Can you handle that? And I made the decision. I think it's a pretty good story, and I'm going to give it a shot.
Yes. And I saw that you mentioned there's a mentor in the story, and didn't you mention you had a mentor going with this book? Is that correct?
So in referencing a mentor, I had a writing mentor, a federal district judge I clerked for as a young lawyer, who was the big proponent of editing. In terms of role models and mentors that appear in some form in the book, I certainly had a handful of teachers and coaches at my high school who, in large part, contributed to creating these characters in the book, whether it's the high school track coach, Coach Reeves, or Mr. Preston, the AP English teacher. Those characters are based in large part on some of the fantastic influences and role models that I had in my own life.
Why do you feel like it was important to include a character like that? Because your character, I mean, we all know as adults, we can look back on that and say, yes, that person really influenced me, it helped me. But guiding a young adult reader, say there are people available is that why you maybe chose to include that character?
Yeah, no question. So part of what I was trying to do with those characters, and Charlie being vulnerable and relying in part on those characters to get through the year, is to convey that is a huge aspect of kind of getting through life, particularly as a teenager, when you're dealing with all of these challenges growing up. It's easy to try to do things on your own and be completely self-reliant and self-sufficient, but you can't, and you have to learn to be vulnerable and trust other people and confide in them.
Yeah, well, it's really crazy. I had my high school reunion last month, and we were talking about old teachers, and they were like, "Oh, I never liked that teacher." I was like, "Really?" I was like, "That teacher was there for me. She was, in those higher advanced math classes, I was like, I spent a lot of time with her. And my other English teacher, I was like, I feel like he was the one who like pushed me in the writing angle. But you don't see that when you're younger. But I think pointing out that these people are available to you, even as an adult, there's mentors all the time. So hopefully, when people read your story, they'll embrace that.
That I think that's so true. I gave a high school commencement speech earlier, I guess, this summer, last summer, and one of the things I wanted to convey to the audience, particularly the graduating seniors, is that I went through a list of teachers who had played an integral role in my life, and I just told them, you will remember those influences, your influences for the rest of your lives, whether you realize it tonight or not. So have the courage to thank them, and don't be like me and wait 35 years to do that.
35 years, yes. Russell, you have a question?
So, what was that like giving a speech at a graduation? They're not listening, but there's a few that are listening. What's that like?
So I've given lots of speeches, Russell, particularly when I was
So,
U.S. attorney, and and I've given a college commencement address. High school's different, and you're absolutely right. And I consider myself kind of funny. I mean, I'm not hilarious, but I think I have a pretty good sense of humor. So I always try to start with a few jokes, and it was crickets. Their parents were chuckling, but they weren't. So it was a tougher crowd, but I think as I got going, hopefully more than a few were listening, certainly not a majority. And you just plow through and stick to the script and hope you touch somebody.
Exactly. And how did you, just real quick, I guess, because we're running low a little bit on time, but I guess display your main character's vulnerability, just just how did you, address that?
So the biggest vulnerability of the main character, Charlie, is he deals with essentially generalized anxiety that manifests itself early on because of a certain traumatic event he experienced over the summer. And I kind of preview it, introduced it early on, and then as the year progresses, it kind of manifests itself again, and then it goes into remission, and then something major happens to trigger it. So I was really upfront about it and made it kind of a key part of the narrative, and it was always kind of dogging Charlie whether he was having a good week or not. So I just wanted to make that kind of a core aspect of this kid and what he was dealing with, and start from the get-go with it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. What are you gonna say, Russell?
Thomas, you need to, since you have no website, no Instagram, how do people find out more? Number one, more about you, except, not in the Virginia Richmond newspaper. How do they find out about your books, and where do they buy your books?
Sure. So because of my day job, there's a lot out there about me or by me, other things I've written. So if you just Google my name and Judge, or Google my name in the title of the book, Charlie Man, there's more than you'll ever want to read that'll come up. My publisher, Brandy Lane Publishing, has an author page with links to various things. My publicist, PR by the Book, Wes Seeley, and his team have an author page where they have all sorts of links to things. If you Google me, you can, if you care to listen to me talk again, you can listen to some of the other podcasts. If you don't live in Virginia, best bet is either Amazon.com or Barnes and Noble to buy the book. And maybe I need to set up a website or something, Russell. I might need your help.
Now, that was not a criticism. I was just, because it's a little bit different. And Thomas is kind of, we're having to help. We're trying to get you to promote yourself a little bit here.
And I
To tell
appreciate
people
that.
where to buy your book.
Thank
It
you.
might just be that the book needs like a landing page, right?
Mm.
So you can still be the mysterious figure that has like no website about yourself and stuff, which I totally understand and I respect, but it may just be that the book needs a landing page. Because
Okay.
if you ever want to run promotions and stuff, because my role of contributing to the show is I do all the marketing and promotions and parties. I do all the fun stuff. On here, I've never written a book because I know what goes into it, and I can't do that because I just know. But like if you ever want to run promotions and stuff like that on it, you can send people to the landing page. So then you can kind of, if you're very analytical, then you can kind of look at all the analytics and the conversions and all of those things. Or if you just want to be like, go to Amazon and then here's the button and the button takes them there. So just food for thought on those things. But I do understand 100% why you don't have any of that. I do understand that 100%. And there are some days that I wish I was like that and didn't have any of that.
Sure.
There are days like that for sure. But we'll do last minute comments, questions, statements. Valerie, I'm going to go to you and then Russell, and then we'll wrap it up.
I just want to say congratulations on your story. That it sounds amazing, and I know it sounds like a labor of love for you. So congratulations.
Thank you,
It's very
Valerie.
nice to meet you.
It was nice to meet you.
Yes.
Russell.
And congratulations to. I know. Are you already working on your next book?
Not yet, although I'm thinking about it.
Okay, that's good enough.
Do it.
Good luck on that.
Thank you, Russell. Good to meet you.
I love it. Well, Thomas, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule and your day. I'm glad that today worked out so we can come and hang out and talk to you. And you can meet my daughter, my youngest one, who just randomly makes appearances on the show. But that way you can come and hang out, tell us all about your book. I am excited about it. I have it up on my Amazon page so I can check it out. But thanks for taking time of hanging out with us today.
Thanks, guys. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
All right, you guys. Well, we hope everybody has a fantastic Monday, a great rest of their week. And until next Monday, bye for now, everybody.